BORTLE here, back from the YCS remote duel event, the first one ever in history for North America everywhere. So, yo, we have here a special guest today, the finalist himself, Darren. What's up, man? Say hello to BORTLE Nation, and what deck did you use?
Everyone. I play Dragon Link. Yeah,
Yeah, Dragon Link. Wow, I can't believe it. Post ban list.
yeah, sleeper deck, but not really looked into it that much. Everybody thought once Striker Dragon was limited, LP was banned, that the deck was dead, but just found some new ways, and yeah, somehow I got it to the finals. I'm still shocked myself. So yeah.
What made you decide to use this deck for this event?
So I was piloting Dragon Link for the longest time before all the hits happened. And then after the hits happened, I explored all the decks that were available: Prank Kids, Drytron, Tri Brigade. And then I noticed that there were a lot of hand traps that were being played, like the least impactful hand traps that were good together in combination, and that lots of people would play, like Imperms, Veilers, Ghost Bell, Ash. But people were cutting things like Droll and Lockbird, Nibiru, things like that. And I know Pat kind of spoke about it, but with Nibiru and like the high impact hand traps being cut, I thought this deck would excel the most in that, and it definitely did.
Before we start the actual deck profile of this video, would you like to do some shoutouts?
So number one, shout out to Team Genesis, my team, who I'm sponsored by. Shout outs to Javier, the owner, Daniel Ramirez, Tristan Bridges, Landon Oliver, all of the Genesis guys, as well as my local guys here in Vancouver, BC. All the way out in the West Coast in Canada, but don't always get to make it out to a lot of YCSs, but I'm glad to represent. Just happy to represent like some of the local guys. You know, I got Russell with me, Tyler Langus, Justin Chorney, Nicholas, and then I said I would do this for him, Andrew, because he gave me this amazing card to play. It's not a prize card anymore, but we still always laugh about it. And this card was so clutch. Everybody, just, everyone. Daniel Zhang, he gave me the entire deck that I played. I don't own a single card, actually. He's the one who gave me everything. So, Johnson Lai, I'm sorry if I'm forgetting anyone. I'm just so tired and so out of it. But just, yeah, thank you to everybody. So, yeah.
Thank you, everybody. And please, without further ado, take it with the rest of your deck profile.
All right. So, like I said, we start off with like my favorite cards, I guess. So I play the one Chaos. How do I say this name? Chaos Emperor, the Dragon of Armageddon. So like I've been hyping this card a lot because I just knew this card was going to be crazy good. So searchable off Chaos Space, searchable. You can dump it with Ravine, add it with Safer. It's basically another one of this card, Chaos Dragon Levianeer. But this card is just so insane because it's recovery. Because now with the Dragon Link deck, you're playing a much slower grind game. So what you have to do is you set up kind of like a board on turn one of your Seal, Savage, Tiding, and then by turn two, you're trying to blow them out with these two cards. This one pops, obviously, and then this one adds back. Like this could put Striker Dragon back in the deck, in the extra deck. This can add like Tracer to your hand. I was just doing some outrageous things with this card, and its summoning requirements easy. You can, it just has so much utility that I think this card is just amazing. MVP hands down. Like this card was just amazing. And then we have the Levy, like I said, Levy's Levy. Levianeer is Levianeer, so he's good. Yeah, and then afterwards we kind of got the standard stuff. We got the one Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Still need to play him. The one Black Metal Dragon, still play him. Didn't see him a whole lot. Still helps to play around Droll when not play around, but play through Droll. Yeah, he's still good, I think. Maybe if people start playing Droll a lot more, you could see this card going up again and its playability maybe to three. I don't know. For this YCS, I thought one was going to be enough, less Drolls. I play the Brotar. I know a lot of people say, they don't play the Brotar anymore because the LP play isn't there. But the reason I do is because I really like it for the Hieratic Seal. And the thing is that's why I play these two, because my Brotar essentially searches out these guys, whichever one that I need to make the push on the following turn. I would say like a majority of the time it is like the Levianeer, But when you're versing like combo decks and when you can stop the combo decks, then most of the times you would go for like Chaos Emp. Or if your board gets broken, then you would go for Chaos Emperor too. This card also has like a crazy effect that you can pay half your life points, send as many cards that I control other than in the extra monster zone to the graveyard, and I get to send my opponents that many cards from my opponent's field. So this card is just amazing. Like, yeah, I'm just so glad I got to use this. This card's so cool. So, and Brotar facilitates it amazing. So I'm really glad I played this card. So then to continue, the one black dragon, one white dragon standard. You got your three safer. This card is, your best starter, I would say. Works amazing again with these two. You can add these two, which is just great. There's a really cool play that, if you open like this up with Ravine, you can like dump this, pitch safer, banish safer, add this to hand, activate this, and then add safer to hand. And sometimes like I notice a lot of times I don't even use my normal summon until way later on in my turn. So this just like you can have this like way later on. So yeah, I thought that was really this is again works in combination really well. I played two Chamber Dragon Maid. I'm playing 44 cards because there's some cards that I decided last minute that I wanted to put in. And I really like Chamber because you normal summon this. In my opinion, like sometimes Seal and Tiding is just so good and you want to see it. I still kind of debate and want to cut this down to one, but I really liked having it at two actually. It came up a lot. So I did like it. Rocket Engine, we have two Tracer, two Synchron, one Router against Senna in the semifinals, I was able to like draw quick launch with the Absa router, and it was just busted. Like the rockets are still insane. So, um, yeah, I think that's pretty standard. I played two Noctovision. Theoretically, you could play three of this if you wanted to. I think this card is really good. Um, Again, I think it was in which one? It was in one of my rounds where I had Levianeer and this, and a special summon Levianeer. Asked him if the summon was okay. He said yes. He had Solemn Strike in his back, and I said Chainlink one, Levianeer, Chainlink two, Nocto. So he didn't even have a chance to, strike my Levianeer. So this card is obviously insane, and it's an extender. Draws you a card. I think Pac was saying it in his interview as well that Dragon Link exposes a lot of their cards, which is true. That's why it's really important to generate cards with things like Noctovision. So anytime I see Nocto, I'm always happy. So that's like the monster part of it. Well, there's more monsters, but these are hand traps now, which I played a lot of. So I played two Effect Veiler, and then I played two Ghost Bell, three Ash Blossom, and then the Gamma package with the driver, of course. So the hand traps were really good. The gammas won me. Like the gammas were so clutch. I think they won me. I think I drew this in all my top 16 matches, especially when I went second game one. I think I drew this every single time, and it was just busted. Like I won all of them. Stopped the prank hit effect, stopped the Tri Brigade effect, and this is the best one that works in combination with every other hand trap, which is why I like it, including Nibiru, which is in my side deck. But I really like how this works in combination. I didn't play Phantasme, something that I kind of wish I did play. If I did, I don't know how this card would be, but yeah, just more theory, I guess. Um, Bell was also really good. Stopped a lot of revolts. Stopped some Drytrons. Stopped some prank kids. Yeah, it's an overall good card, especially this format. And then for the spells, we had three Chaos Base, three World Legacy Guard Dragon. I know a lot of people cut this card, and I bricked on this card actually in the finals. I was one combo piece away, and to be honest with you, like, yeah, this card is, it's an extender, and if you don't have combo, then it's just dead. But I don't regret, playing this. This card actually saved me a lot. It was really, really good. I versed a Salad player in Swiss. I get to move my arrows around. I did it against a Tri-Create player who put an Appaloosa in my zone. I don't really regret. Maybe I would cut this down to two, but I don't regret playing this card. I think this card was really good. So yeah, thought that he was really good. Three quick launch, busted, one boot, one ravine, and then the two tiding to go with the two chamber. And that's 44 from the main deck.
Nice. I love the ratios, man. Especially that you're just jam packed with some hand traps. Pretty nice right there.
Absolutely. It reminded me a lot of Shoe Ping's list. I bounced around everywhere with this deck. Like I went from 60 to 50 to 40 to 42 to finally deciding like I wanted the bells in the main deck just because the side deck was so packed. So I'm like, you know what? Just throw these into the main deck. And I worked the numbers. I tried to work the numbers as best as I could. So I thought it made sense. And yeah, thought it worked out well. Yeah, we'll go with the extra. Okay. So for extra, we have, of course, the one striker dragon. I love it. So many people kept asking me how many times how this deck functions with only one striker. Technically, I don't play one striker. I actually play three Chaos Space that put back striker, and I play a Chaos Emperor, the Dragon of Armageddon, which means I play more striker dragon. So um, I actually put this card back a lot, and like especially later on, when I'm like grinding or things like that, like this card I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's at one. It's a lot like the baby dragons, a white and black dragon. You just keep recycling it with chaos space. So hurts for the combo with Pisty because you can't do your generic plays and then have it set up in the middle. But like sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Pisty is kind of just there for being there. You don't always summon him and use the effect. It's why I like World Legacy because there's some like really cool plays that you can make with Legacy and Pisty, and then you can set up your board, or like you can ravine dump, tiding or chamber, bring it back, and just do like a whole bunch of like cool plays with this. So I still like Pisty is obviously is needed and it's really good. I think it works really well when you play the World Legacy Guard Dragon. So I think that works really well with it. So yeah, so we have the Pisty. My favorite card as well is Two Seal. This card is like crazy. I laugh about it because I think like tiding and seal is so good. Just being able to bounce and like Pack and I were laughing about it because I made this board. He had Nibiru, but there was a point where he knew I had this on board and he's like, oh, all the cards that kill my deck. Like this kills. I think the only deck that this doesn't really hurt a whole lot is Drytron. But other than Drytron, I would say like these hurt almost every deck. So this with tiding so good, and then the fact that this has an additional effect that you summon Brotar, and that's your recovery. So you not only have a bounce, but you have a special summon out, a Brotar or a Safer, and then you have recovery and a way to game your opponent next turn. So this card is insane. I know so many people were asking me, they're like, well, what happens if they were to hit Seal? Like, would your deck still? And I'm like, I don't know. They already hit LP, so I don't know what to tell you anymore. So
That's the
yeah,
final nail in the coffin right there.
absolutely. Yeah, exactly. The card that gets hand trapped the most, Romulus. Everybody stops this card because the Ravine, like people feel like the Ravine is like the heart and soul. In the Remus version, absolutely. In this more control variant of it, it's good. It's still good. Like you want to have the Ravine for sure. Um, but I know a lot of people hand trap this card. And in the Remus version, like I said, in the Dragoonity, yeah, it hurts more. In this version, you can still survive and just back it off with Seal. So, um, yeah, but this card definitely gets hand trapped a lot. Quad Boral, this card is insane. This card is just like a win against Tri Brigade. I think that's how I beat all my Tri Brigade matchups. Was I just like summoned Quad Boral, popped their Rugal, summoned back my rockets, and just popped off after that. I played Dill. This was a mistake. I probably shouldn't have played this, but there's like a cool little play that you can have, quad and Dill, use quad, pop the Dill, summon out two rockets, summon back the Dill, and then you put these two into a Appaloosa. You can't use your rocket tracer because then you're locked into darks, but there is a play. It came up like a few times during the actual weekend when we played in the YCS, but in the top cut, no. This card, I don't even think I summoned this card. In actuality, this card should probably be an IP Masquerena, but for this event, I played Dill. Palki still played it. Really good with World Legacy, in my opinion. Still a really good card with World Legacy. Still like it. Came up a few times. Appaloosa. Made it a few times, was still pretty good. Saryuja, same thing, utility card, you have the space. I think I would cut one of these for a unicorn if I were to put the IP Masquerena in, but people can play around with it after. Boral Sword, this card is like game every single time. Top 16, made this every single game except against Pack, and it was just always game. Savage, busted card, Chaos Ruler every time. Like I resolve this, I feel like I win. Hot Red, this card negates anti-spell, which I learned later on. No, I knew it, but I just forgot. Really good though. And then I played number 22 Zombie Stein. The other thing that's really important about these two guys is, again, when you special summon out the Chaos Ruler so it doesn't get banished, you just overlay them into like Zombie Stein. And then you have, again, the Safer adds this back, and then Chaos Ruler just brings itself out. So it's all just kind of like a turn two play. So it facilitates a lot more. And this is basically just like another hot red. So, and then I'm assuming the side deck for the last thing.
Oh yeah, of course.
Tunabiru. This card was good. I played it. Drytron, combo. You still have to play this against Pack. I put it in. Yeah, this card's good. Two Droll. I still wanted to play Droll. I think this card is really good still. Actually, to be fair, I thought maybe some people would be on the Dragon Link strategy as well. So I was like more scared about the mirror match too, and I'm like I should just have something in for the mirror match. Um, it came up in like a few other situations too, but yeah, Droll was a really good card. There was a lot of Rogue at this tournament. Like my first two rounds were against Infinite Track, which search a lot, which Droll does a lot of work against. Like there was just a lot of Rogue decks that I played, especially early on in day one and day two. Top cut, no, like it was standard, but that's where I think Droll really shined was against those Rogue matchups. Skullmeister, Prank Kids, that's the main reason. Drytron, three talents, really good. Two twin, and then two cosmic. So this was my ratio against like praying back row decks. You want to hit the pandemonium, the fusion spell. You want to hit. I don't know if I versed any shit all invoked or anything like that, which I did, but anything like that, like these cards are really good. And then the other two that I decided because I had a feeling there would be a bit more rogue was one Feather Duster and one Reboot. So Reboot was insane. Put this card in as Tri Brigade. They set up, if they're not playing Solemn Judgment and they're playing Solemn Strike instead, they just lose because, I literally did this where I went normal summon safer, flips Revolt. I had Reboot. I had a feeling he had either if it was Judgment, he won. If he had Strike, I won. I think it was a Strike or an Imperm, and it wasn't a Judgment. So yeah, I won. So yeah, that's the deck.
Oh man, thank you for showcasing this second place Dragon Link deck profile post Striker getting hit. Well, limited to one, my bad. Overall, was your experience great for this YCS remote duel event?
It was. It was amazing. It was, obviously it's not the same as being with the guys and being at an actual event, but we tried to do as much as we could. Like we would get into calls at the end of every round and things like that. But I really enjoyed it. I got to play from my own house, which was nice. Um, and yeah, I really enjoyed the experience, and I'm just so grateful and thankful. And
Sweet, and thank you again for being on the channel.
thank you, Bortle, for having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And listeners, make sure to check out the description down below and follow his team's YouTube channel. See more of Darren and his team over there on Genesis. And obviously, if you're not a part of Bortle Nation, sub for Bortle. It's that easy and it's free. Oh God, yes. Bortle out.